Hello! Welcome to my 3-day event on how to heal childhood trauma. This is take 2 of day 1. We had some technical difficulties, so this is a re-recording. All right, so I'm going to do the workshop, then I'll give you some homework, and then I have an offer specifically for mums or for those who are wanting to have children in the future. This could also be for you as well. So today I would like to talk to you about healing your inner child, because that is the crux of healing, right? Our inner child is the part of us that took all the pain and hurt growing up. A hurt inner child is the reason that we self-sabotage, we engage in unhelpful behaviors, we get angry and we lash out. So it's really important that we learn how to heal our inner child. Excuse me while I get my notes up. So basically, children are egocentric, right? They cannot see a perspective outside of their own. That's just how they are biologically wired. So everything that your parents did growing up as a child, you made it about you. So if your parents were unhappy, you likely believed it was because of you. If your parents argued, you may have believed it was because of you. And logically now as adults, we are able to look back and go, well, it couldn't have been me. It could have been, the issues in their marriage. But as a child, emotionally, how we can look back logically now doesn't change the fact that we were emotionally hurt back then. So we still have to do the healing work. So humans have 3 core needs, right? To be seen, which means to be loved, to be valued. To be heard, which is, somebody cares about your opinion. Whether that's your partner or your parents, somebody cares about what you have to say. Your voice is important to somebody. And number 3, to be unconditionally accepted. And this society does not know how to unconditionally accept anybody. If you were punished, you likely did not feel unconditionally accepted by your parents. And this is why it's so imperative that we meet our emotional needs and we meet our child's emotional needs. In the past, parenting has just been meeting physical needs. But that is why we have the world that we have today, because everybody's filled with trauma because we didn't get those emotional needs those emotional needs are just as important. We didn't get those met. So let's just quickly go through some common childhood traumas. We've got a parent who is focused on appearance. A parent who is focused on appearance. Now, the reason that this is so traumatic is because when a parent is focused on what everybody else thinks of them or how you look, they're not focused on nurturing you as a child, right? So if you do something or you behave in a way that they deem inappropriate and they feel embarrassed by that, and their focus is not to nurture you or to train you or to teach you something different. Their focus is often to punish you for that, which brings humiliation and shame. Other common childhood traumas are a parent who can't regulate emotions, withdraws, sulks, does not respect your boundaries, uses you as a confidant, so that emotional parentification, that can be really hard. A parent who is controlling, emotionally immature, who gaslights you and who denies your reality. And often if we have an argument with a spouse and they deny our reality, we can be triggered right back to childhood when our reality was denied by our parents. So let's go through some wounds from childhood, because I think it's imperative that we understand what's happening or what has happened to us. There are 4 different wounds. The first one is the neglect wound. Right, and you'll have a primary and you may have a little bit of each, to be honest. So the neglect wound, some of the signs is that you struggle to let things go. You struggle to hear no or say no. You have low self-worth, you get angry easily, and you attract people who do not see and do not hear you, right? Because if we have healing to do, we're going to attract people who take advantage of those parts of us that need healing. So that's the neglect wound. The next one is the guilt wound. People who have the guilt wound apologize a lot, right? They struggle to ask for help. They use guilt to try and get their way. And you might also use guilt to try and get your way. And you also attract people who make you feel guilty. And none of this is to shame you, right? It's really so you have the knowledge, so you can see what's going on for you and where your trauma might come from. And, you know, I had the guilt wound for a really long time. And it came from being, you know, that if you have been taught that the only way to get your needs met is through using guilt or manipulating people through guilt, then, you know, all of us are just trying to get our needs met. And if we've learned that that's the most effective way, then we're going to take that on. And that's why it's so imperative that we heal our inner child. So the next one is the trust wound. We find it hard to trust others. You don't trust yourself. You look to others for validation. You ask other people for advice instead of going and looking internally and asking yourself what you believe is best for you. You believe that everybody else knows what's best for you as opposed to yourself, and you attract people who don't make you feel safe. And then finally, we've got the abandonment wound. You take it personally if you perceive you've been left out. You feel threatened if you think somebody wants to leave you. You hate being alone, and you attract emotionally unavailable people. Now, obviously, the abandonment wound often comes from being abandoned either emotionally or physically by a parent or caregiver. So how do we heal these things? The first thing that we have to do is acknowledge that we were hurt in childhood, and this can be hard. We can be so protective of our parents, right? Naturally, because we love them. And taking this first step can often cause feelings of guilt because we've been raised, we've been conditioned to believe that questioning our parents means we're ungrateful, and we were often shamed for questioning our parents growing up. So to possibly turn around and say that they hurt us and acknowledge that, it can be one of the hardest steps to take. So really nurture yourself through this, okay? It's a hard step to take. We don't want to think badly of our parents. We really don't. And I would like to believe that if our parents knew that what they were doing was going to seriously affect us, I'd like to think that they would have done different if they had the tools available to them. So let's get into really into the healing part of this, because this is my favorite part. So we're going to go into meeting our inner child. So what I'm going to do is we're going to go through a meditation together. I can't hear your answers, but I'm going to give you, 20 seconds, 30 seconds between each question for you to work through that yourself. So we're going to meet that little version of you that took all the pain in childhood. So ideally you are somewhere that is quiet, comfortable, and we can go into, let's see how this goes. Now listen, if nothing happens, that's okay. Okay, sometimes it takes a couple of tries to actually have an inner child open up. especially if we have been critical with ourselves, right? If we're someone who has been quite critical with ourselves, maybe our inner child feels like we're not someone safe that they can open up to. And it's just going to take a couple of times to be able to have that inner child start trusting us. Maybe your inner child is happy. Great. And if your inner child is feeling down or sad, then this is really going to help. So I want you to shut your eyes and I want you to take 2 deep breaths. I'll do it with you. 1, 2. Now that you're relaxed, I want you to keep your eyes shut. I'm going to ask you a few questions and take you through this meditation, and I'm going to get you to meet your inner child and ask them a few questions. So I'd like you to imagine a younger version of you. They can be any age, 20, 4, 12. Just go with the flow and whatever comes up, let that be the age that you go with. So this younger version of you, it can be an image, a photo, a memory. Just see what comes up for you when I say, imagine a younger version of yourself. Now I want you to soak in the details. What do they look like? What are they doing? How old is this younger version of you? Now what I'd like you to do is I'd like you to envision the current version of you, the version of you at this age, approaching this younger version. And I'd like you to get down to their level, and I want you to let them know that you are a safe adult that they can trust. Can you just let them know that, please? All right. So now I'm going to get you to ask them a few questions. The first question I'd like you to ask them is, how are they feeling? How are they feeling right now? Okay. And the next question is, what has made them feel this way? Now, I would like you to ask them, is there anything that they need to say? Anything that they'd like to tell you? Give them a voice, because often in childhood we didn't get a voice. We weren't able to say the things we wanted to say because we were in fear of being punished for it. So please give them this moment to be able to let out whatever it is that they've been holding in, if they would like to do so. So now that they may have opened up to you, I want you to ask them, what is it that they really need from you right now? Maybe it's empathy. Maybe it's validation. Maybe they desperately need a hug. What is it that your inner child needed growing up or needs right now? Maybe it's that they need to be told that they are so loved and appreciated, that they didn't deserve what they went through. Give your inner child what they desperately need, what they're asking for. Envision hugging them or holding them. Envision getting down to their level and saying that they are amazing and they are worthy. Now I would like you to make them a promise. I want you to look your inner child in the eye, and I want you to promise them that you're going to come back and spend more time with them often, that you're going to check in on them and you're going to give them what they so desperately needed, what they need now. I want you to nurture them and love them the way that they deserve to be loved, the way they needed to be loved. Let them know that they're no longer going to be alone, that you're always going to be here checking in on them, that they live within you and you're finally going to give them the attention that they so desperately crave. And when you've made that promise, and when you're ready, I want you to give them a big hug, and you can say goodbye to them. How did that feel? Was your inner child happy? Were they sad? Did they not want you to leave? Now, there are plenty of ways to do inner child meditation. This is just one way. When I'm able to work with clients one-on-one, I can hear what you repeat back to me. And then we can ask deeper questions to find out where the pain originates from. There's also inner child meditations on YouTube that are completely free that you can listen to. So each day I'd love for you to just check in with your inner child for a couple of seconds even. How are they feeling today? What can you give them today? What is it that they really need right now? And start getting into a habit of listening to your inner child and not dismissing them, of showing up for them. Because unfortunately, a part of the healing that we do is that we must start showing up for ourselves and for our inner child, because part of that anger, that frustration, that trauma is that somebody didn't show up for us. So many of us didn't get our emotional needs met. And that includes, a lot of us weren't allowed to take it easy. We weren't allowed to have breaks. If we decided to do nothing all day, or, on the weekend, sometimes we got called names like lazy or, selfish. We weren't allowed to feel how we actually felt. We weren't allowed to speak our mind. And so in order to heal that trauma, it's imperative that we do those things now. If your inner child is secure, if you've got your inner child's back, if you've got your back, you don't have to rely on everybody else, because everybody else is dealing with their own stuff. And the thing is when we have an inner child that's hurt, we often take the things that our kids do personally, right? We get embarrassed by their behavior because we think it reflects on us, when actually the science shows that it's simply their brain immaturity. But if you've got an inner child that felt disrespected growing up, and then your own child does something that you deem as disrespectful, you're going to get triggered by that, right? One of the best ways to heal our emotional triggers is to heal our inner child. So that if you've got a healed inner child and your child acts in a way that, that old school mainstream parenting would deem as disrespectful, you don't get triggered. You're able to know that they're acting out of being emotionally dysregulated and their brain immaturity. You don't take that personally. You get to show up as the calm, stable leader. The calm, stable leader that doesn't get dragged into back and forth with children who have underdeveloped brains. You're more mature than that. Your inner child's more secure than that. Okay? You can ask for help when you need it. A secure inner child is okay with asking for help. So when you meet the needs of your inner child, life gets easier. You speak up. You're not afraid of rejection. You show up for yourself. Secure people show up for themselves, even if they're scared, even if they're afraid. Secure people take the next step, even if they can't see the 10 steps that come after that. They take that leap of faith because they have a secure foundation to do that. They know that they've got their back. They know that they're capable of figuring out whatever may arise. So I want you to start asking yourself, where are you showing up for yourself and where are you not showing up for yourself? What is your environment like? Who are you living with? How do they make you feel? Is your environment somewhere that you can be your true self, your authentic self? Or are you in an environment where it's quite toxic and it's heavy? Are you living in alignment with who you really want to be? Or are you playing a role to appease other people? Are you nurturing your well-being? Are you showing up for your education? Are you showing up for, maybe you want to start a business in the future? Are you making those plans? Are you nurturing future you? Are you eating nutritious meals? Are you exercising? Are you moving your body? We need to start doing things because we said we would. Our reputation with ourselves is the most important thing. We're so focused on what other people think of ourselves that we often forget that what we think of ourselves is the most important thing, right? You wouldn't trust somebody who didn't keep their word to you, who always bailed at the last minute. So where are you not keeping your word to yourself? Where are you saying you'll do something and you don't do it? What are you avoiding, right? Make a list of what you're avoiding, right? The first thing that I think of is that I am avoiding cleaning my car. Totally avoiding it. And yes, that may seem silly, but as we go through and start listing the things we're avoiding, it often gets deeper and deeper, right? So you might start off with, oh, I'm avoiding cleaning my car. And then as you write things down, you're also avoiding having that conversation with your parents, or maybe you're avoiding making a decision around your relationship. Start asking yourself, what are you avoiding? Maybe you're avoiding taking control of your health and well-being. Maybe you're avoiding doing the inner child work because you know that you'll heal, you'll become authentic, and you're afraid of what that might mean in your relationships. Because we all know that when we start working on ourselves and we start changing, some of our closest relationships struggle. And I'm not going to lie to you. I had relationships end because of the person that I became. You have to consciously choose you time and time again. That is what healing is about. Showing up for you. Okay. So, your self-trust and your self-confidence comes from keeping promises that you make to yourself. So if you're looking for a sign, this is it. Those things you're avoiding, get onto them, right? People who are secure, people who heal, show up for themselves. They make that commitment. And they might be scared while they do it too. Anytime I go live, scared, terrified, in fact. You should have seen me this morning. Like, messy. It was messy. It was scary. But we do it. We do it anyway. I've made 500 videos, more than that, on TikTok. Still scared every time I post one. Still nervous. But we show up anyway. It's more courageous to be scared and show up anyway. So do the thing. Commit to doing the one thing today. What is it? What is it that you could do today? But I do want to let you know this. Anytime we make a change in our life, we're going to get mental resistance. And that's because our brain likes the familiar, okay? The familiar path, even though it might be toxic, even though it might be holding you back, it's familiar, and the brain believes that familiar means safe. It's kept you alive. This toxic path has kept you alive, and it wants to keep you there. So any change you make has to be small. I'm talking 5 minutes or less. When I started my exercise journey, I started with 3 minutes a day. And yes, the ego will come out and say, 3 minutes a day, that's going to do nothing. What are you doing this for? This is so silly. I've had clients who have outright said, this isn't going to do anything for me, Annalise. Why do I have to do this? What will 3 minutes a day do? What will 5 minutes a day do? Nothing. A few weeks later, because they did the thing anyway, even though their ego said this is silly, they've come back and said, okay, I see now. My self-confidence is growing. Because if you go from doing no exercise to all of a sudden, I'm going to do 1 hour every day or 5 times a week, the mental resistance with such a huge change is also going to be huge. So start small. While we are building or rebuilding that trust in ourselves, we must start small. It's imperative that we don't break our own trust again. So your homework is, where are you not showing up for yourself? Okay? What are you avoiding? What are you avoiding? Get it out, write it down, have a list, and start going through it. Are you avoiding that conversation with your boss about a pay rise? Are you avoiding that conversation with your spouse about something that is happening that you're not happy about? Are you avoiding showing up for yourself each day? Write it down. Where are you not showing up for yourself? The other thing I'd like you to do is check in on your inner child tomorrow. Just when you wake up, check in, see how they're feeling. Go through the steps that we went through. All right? So this is day 1. This is day 1 of the workshop, and it is complete. So for those who are just here for the workshop, thank you so much. Thank you so much for joining me. I don't take it for granted. I don't take it for granted that you are here. You could have been with your family. You took time away to be here with me, and I thank you for that. And hopefully you're going to be back tomorrow, so hopefully I'll see you then. Now, for those who want to hear about my offer, this offer is specifically for mums or somebody who would like to be a mum maybe in the future. I have a live group coaching program that is starting in 2 weeks' time. It's called The Nurtured Mama. You might have seen me talk about it on my Instagram and my TikTok. It is for mums who are ready to empower themselves, okay? It's for mums who don't really know where to start or want the guidance. They want the path of least resistance. It is for mums who want to reparent themselves, empower themselves, nurture themselves, because the key to change is nurturing ourselves. And this is why it's called The Nurtured Mama. Mamas who are sick of the self-sacrifice and beliefs that society has raised us with. And you want to break that cycle. You want to have more happiness and freedom in your parenting. You want to learn how to have safe communication so that your family thrives even in those really difficult times. You want to get rid of guilt and shame in your family, and you want strategies on how to raise capable, competent, and emotionally secure children. This is what the Nurtured Mama is all about. It's giving you the tools to be able to become the person that you want to be for your children. Because whoever we want to be, whoever we want our children to be, we must become that person, okay? And this is the journey I went on a few years ago, and I want to bring you the tools and the strategies and bring that journey to you. So the topics we will be covering are managing your emotions, dealing with triggers. Now there's going to be strategies for all of these things, right? We're going to go over relationships, boundaries, dealing with toxic parents, limiting beliefs that are holding you back. We're going over your mindset and your trauma, facing your own fears. So there will be 7 sessions fortnightly from October to December. And so by the time 2022 starts, you'll be able to start 2022 with a whole new mindset and have all the strategies available. Okay, so you'll also get private Facebook support, my e-booklet, which is 43 strategies to raising emotionally resilient children, worksheets and guides to healing your own trauma, giveaways, we all like giveaways, my e-booklet on shadow work, and also inner child meditations so that you can do your own healing in your own time as well. So the cost is $350 US, or that translates to around 500 New Zealand dollars. And there is upfront payment, there is 2 monthly payments, or there is 4 monthly payments, payment plans. So there are options there, because I really would hate for you to miss out because you can't afford it all up front. What else am I missing? I feel like I'm missing something. Maybe not. So the link is in my bio. You can message me on Instagram, direct message me if you have any questions, if you'd like more information. But if you'd like to be part of that, then the link is in my bio. And that is, the Nurtured Mama is about nurturing you, your education, and your well-being, because that is going to have a knock-on effect, a beautiful flow onto your family. And that's what we want. So that's the offer for today. I'd love to hear what you got from this workshop. That would be beautiful. Feel free to message me about that. And hopefully you're going to be here tomorrow for the live. Hopefully there's no technical difficulties next tomorrow. And I will see you then. So thank you so much for joining me again. I don't take it for granted. Thank you. Bye.